Hey everyone, welcome back again to another edition of Just the Tip. Really excited today to have Tom Tran with us. Tom, welcome to the interview on Just the Tip today, man.
Hey, Jack. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. So we were talking a little bit before the call, but let's just dive straight into it. AI is something you've been using quite a lot with your clients. Could you tell us a little bit about the things you do?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So once again, my name is Tom Tran. I own a digital marketing agency and consultancy based in the Bay Area. I've been in the game for a little over a decade, so going on about 12 years now. And I think the biggest thing that I started to use AI for in my business and helping my clients as well is really just trying to streamline a lot of the processes, right? So if you think about, like, say, it's even funny that I say it this way, but the older way of or traditional way of doing digital marketing, you'd have silos of teams, and every team is going to have a specific task. And with that, what I've been able to do is basically create or just take our processes, put them into AI agents, right? Using AI to basically be able to empower my team, but also streamline a lot more of those processes. So in other words, for us, what we try to do is we try to make sure that AI is something that we can integrate with our business and with our clients' business to make them more efficient and quite effective, more effective, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the key, really, because a lot of people think you can just outsource everything to AI, not have any humans with any expertise in there. But I think how you've put it is really, really smart because we can now have somebody who's, I guess, the team leader of an area that would have been five people before and is now an AI plus a higher level expert.
100%. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
So talking about that, I guess that's in the realm a little bit of AI personas. I don't know, you can dig in maybe a bit more if there's some automation behind that as well. But talking AI personas, how did you first hear about the AI persona method and Jeff's program?
Yeah, so great question. I was actually introduced to me by a few friends. They actually were. It just so happened that Jeff was speaking at an event in Cancun, and some other of my friends were speaking at the same event. Right. So
Right.
at that event, one of my friends came back home from that event and said, "Hey, I'm a part of her team, so I kind of handle the AI content streamlining instructor for her company." And what she did was she was like, really want to invest in this program. You lead the way in basically doing that for the team. I'd love to have you kind of take an eye on it to see if we can add that to streamline what I had already started doing earlier on that year. And just through different networks, like I've learned about Jeff. And once I dove into the program, I mean, what it allowed me to do was basically turn a lot of the processes and structures that I had and turn them and being able to implement them a lot faster. So that's what I really loved about the course in itself. And Jeff even says in the program, it should take you maybe only but 90 minutes or so to get the grasp of it and then really take action. And I really held on to that, and that we were able to do that.
Nice. So in your business now, you've got multiple AI personas running. And are you using any automation between these, or are they just the pure AI personas as they come out of the box?
Yeah, a great question. And yes, we are using automation, and it just really depends on that specific workflow. But what I really enjoy about it is if a business has been around for a while and they understand their processes, what I like to do first is to kind of identify like how quote unquote AI ready is that company, right? Or is that, say, consult or like the company that we're working with. And as we kind of just get an understanding of what they're currently doing, right, we can look to see where these gaps and these opportunities are to be able to integrate AI, whether it is an automation aspect of certain things and or a persona that then helps to get the data ready to then be pushed on to the next stage in that process. If automation can pick up where that persona left off, and we can actually do this to where we're creating like a closed loop and minimizing the amount of human interaction in between those things, that's where we really look to see where these gaps are that we can really win in, right?
Yeah, wow, that is really, really powerful. And I think one of the biggest powers of AI. And I guess people who are less in the know about automations will be thinking, wow, that sounds complicated, that sounds really expensive, et cetera, et cetera. What would you say to people thinking that in the age that we're in now?
Yeah, I think it's something that I actually heard Jeff mention in a different podcast that I was watching with another mutual friend. And he had said, like, the very first step is to identify if you as a business owner are AI ready. And what that truly just means is, do you have your processes currently in place right now? Let's just look at it from there. remove the AI, remove the verbiage of automation. It's just, what are we currently doing right now to make sure that you're efficient in your business processes, right? Whether it's from generating marketing content to then ultimately generate leads, having that lead incubation and follow-up process to ultimately get them to become a customer, and then also making sure that that customer experience is at the highest level it can be, and also as streamlined as possible. So as you look at these parts of the business, right? Sometimes it could very well for us in our world be very simple 2-3 step automation that can do and remove a lot of these manual tasks from that business owner. The business owner doesn't need to understand the drill per se, because that's not what they want, right? They want, people buy a drill because they need the hole, right? So for us, as I look at it and talk to it at a level to where it's just normal communication, it's not AI and geeky, right? Once we understand, like, okay, this is where you are, this is where you want to go, do we have something that can basically be put in place to remove that manual element from it?
Yeah, right. And it's a hugely valuable process, even without the AI, as you've said, because if a business is running and it doesn't have a clear vision of what its processes are, there's going to be a lot of inefficiency in there before you even start bringing AI to the table.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I can really see how that makes a huge difference. So while we're there, it's kind of a nice segue into wins. Like, what sort of client wins and results have you had? What wow moments have you found implementing these things with your clients?
Yeah, actually, just one a recent one. I was working with a client. She is a clairvoyant and an animal psychic, right? So what she does is she helps the pet owners and the pets to be able to communicate more effectively, whether it's here in this world or she's reaching out to past animals and having that conversation. It's interesting because the way in which she basically has her process is, if it's a Zoom call or a live in person consultation, what she likes to do is make sure that she's present during the call. So no matter what step one is, she uses video to be able to capture the moment, so she could be intentful and not have to be kind of starting and stopping as she's taking notes, as she's trying to also diagnose what the situation is, right?
Right.
So from there, she's like, hey, Tom, right now I'm having a challenge with trying to be more efficient with going back to those recordings, pulling out and summarizing how that call went, making my notes as a practitioner, and also just summarizing what the ailments were with the animal. If there were ailments, what were the suggested homeopathic remedies? Can you help me with that part first? So what we were able to do was we were able to take her through, okay, great. If this is what you're manually doing, is there a way for us to be able to get that done faster and with as little, involvement on your end as possible? So what we were able to do, just from the meetings standpoint, was we're able to work on creating an automation to where once that Zoom call is finished and that recording is then uploaded into a Google Drive, an automation will then kick off to then, one, transcribe the meeting, two, organize the meeting notes in a structured data format that she would normally look for anyways, right? What happened, what was said on the call, what were the ailments that whoever was having, what were the homeopathic remedies, and what are the next steps. So now these automations can go through, take out all of the, really just convert all of the information that was in the call into a structured document that goes directly into her patient file, so that now she has these notes that are in her CRM and in her client folder. And it literally, per client, it saves her at minimum 90 minutes for every session recap, right?
Wow. Yeah. So now she can show up for so many more clients than she could before. She's still present with all of those people and therefore getting the best possible results she can get while
Absolutely.
being more efficient and spending less time in the system and doing all of those other things. That's crazy. Really, really cool. So what do you see as the next stage for AI? Because obviously there's a lot of news coming out. There's new versions of ChatGPT in O3 coming out very soon. What do you think's coming next over the next year, 2 years in the world of business and AI?
Man, I think something that's, in our world that we were talking about before the call, AI agents, right? Autonomous AI, and just going into, like, say, that realm of what we would have probably 2-3 years ago thought would be maybe a decade away. I mean, it's just like that's that next chapter in terms of this year in AI. But I think if we take that back to where, if I zoomed out and really thought about how, as a whole general population, how many people right now are utilizing AI in their business, I mean, it's such a small subgroup of people, right? So I think if we can look at just making sure that if it allows us to be able to be more efficient with the resources that we have now and be more resourceful. I would like to just encourage local business owners to be able to start with that first. What is taking up more time and resources that I could possibly either automate or bring in AI to actually do this more efficiently, right? So then I could be able to then focus on the bigger things in my business to make sure that the overall function is as efficient as possible, right?
Right, yeah, because as you've correctly identified, I think in our world, in the agency world, in the kind of area that we're all in, AI seems like it's everywhere and everybody's using it every day and all of this stuff. But even in our world, I think it's probably 2/3, if that are very good at it, right? I think you're even
Mm-hmm.
talking lower percentages that are true experts. But when you bring that out to the rest of the world, the percentages are still tiny. And I think that is the real key of 2025 and 2026. It's getting it into these businesses so that they can be efficient as well and do more
Absolutely.
of what they do well. So, yeah, that makes total sense. So, in terms of specifics with AI, what tools do you think we're going to see next year? Like, do you see there being a move away from SaaS? Will more people be doing their own automations? Have you got any opinions on that?
It just, again, it depends on like the world that we're talking in, right? If we're in our small chasm of just the AI agencies and the people that are really in the forefront of that, there's a whole bunch of things that we can kind of just do inside of that bubble in itself, right? Beyond automations. I mean, what I'm hearing from already, right, is just the amount of organic content that people are being able to build right now, whether it's faceless YouTube channels to automated talking head videos on TikTok. They're monetizing in a somewhat passive way, right? But they're doing it systematized to where they have a structure that's in place where they're really capturing the attention and maximizing like the technology that's out there right now, right? Just in that standpoint in itself, like I look at it, the way in which I even like the fabric and the way in which I think about AI has fundamentally changed. Whereas
Yeah.
before, right, we would have to think about things and then put it into the system because we had already had that process. Now I'm using AI on a day-to-day basis to where it's actually my thought partner. My wife actually calls it her thought partner, right? And it's the craziest thing, right? Right, Jack? It's like what I love about it is the more in which we can train ourselves to think in a different way to where AI is integrated in that thought process, it just allows us to be above that AI line. We're never gonna have to worry about, say, job security or anything because we're not doing stuff that the AI is doing, right? We're acting in conjunction with what it can do, and we're thinking beyond that, right? So I feel as though, like, when it comes to, say, understanding the usage of AI, a person that already has a skill set, AI should be able to enhance that skill set and make you more efficient, more productive, right?
Totally. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head for two things there. One, if you're not already skilled in something before you start using AI, then the results won't necessarily be great. But the other thing is, it does make you think differently. You have to start reverse engineering things, and all of this way of working is different because you're starting at the end goal a lot of the time, which you do. But generally speaking, people start and then they go plod along the path and they have this idea at the end. But with AI, you can start there and then within minutes you've got everything you need. And I think that's a huge benefit of AI that you've hit right on the head. So yeah, the last question I've got for you today then, Tom. So if people would like to follow you, they would like to keep up with you, they'd like to see what your business is doing and how it's progressing, what's the best platform for them to make contact?
Yeah, great question. My website is tntdigitalmarketing.com. So people can reach out to me there. Where I'm actually going to be I'm actually working on right now a content system to where I can have more streamlined content going out onto my blog there. So look out for more of that information coming. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at Tom Tran 22. So Tom Tran, the number 22. It's my personal account. So it's going to be a mix of things that just evolve around just my day-to-day life using AI, but also my family and just the lifestyle that I live as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Well, I'll put the links in the description as well so people can grab them there. But I just wanted to say a massive thank you for joining us today, for sharing your insights. And I'm looking forward to following your journey over the next year or two as well.
Thanks for having me, Jack. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, man.